There's a piece of land rising from the middle of the world's largest volcanic lake, in the province of North Sumatra, Indonesia. It's an island within another island, isolated by mountains and jungle and 1,000 years of stories, the local people keeping their independence by scaring off outsiders with a fearsome reputation. Samosir Island at the center of Lake Toba is one of the planet's most fascinating places, a culture all its own and holding some of the most incredible secrets, waiting to be discovered. So we're taking a road trip. For 3 days we're living with the Batak people, exploring the sacred sites unknown even within the surrounding country, and diving deep into the local cuisine, the unique ingredients and ancient recipes, and master chefs keeping alive old traditions. For thousands of years, the people of this island built an entire society unknown to the outside world, and we're here to tell its story, to understand the culture, the history, and the incredible food of the Bataks of Lake Toba, today on OTR. 74,000 years ago, our planet was in the middle of a period of change and rapid advancement. Early humans were migrating out of Africa and creating tools for fishing and hunting, making artwork and developing systems of beliefs. Things were changing fast, until one morning when the ground started to shake, and an island we now call Sumatra would explode, the largest volcanic eruption ever recorded in history, 10,000 times more powerful than Mount St. Helens. The Toba event would change the world. Nearly 4 trillion cubic meters of volcanic ash would cover the entire hemisphere, the Indian subcontinent, buried in as much as half a foot of powdered stone. The sun would disappear behind thick black clouds and not emerge again for years or even centuries, and global temperatures would fall by up to 5 degrees Celsius, triggering a new ice age. And according to genetics, after the eruption, as few as 3,000 humans total would survive, the entirety of our species, and the ancestors of everyone, including you and me. The caldera of the volcano would leave an 1,100 square kilometer hole in the ground of North Sumatra, 500 meters deep, which over time would fill with water and become a gigantic lake. And then 40,000 years later, a second eruption would cause a piece of land to rise right in the middle, a rocky crag jutting out from the surface the size of Singapore. Over time, as Sumatra recovered, a dense jungle growing over the old volcanic ash, while the lake and the island would be forgotten, lost in the middle of a tough and unforgiving landscape. Entire eras in global history would pass between the eruption and the discovery of Lake Toba, humans in the intervening years learning the secrets of farming, building the first settlements, then towns, then cities. We'd see the first written language, the birth of religions, and the rise and fall of countless kingdoms and empires. There'd be the invention of the wheel and the construction of the pyramids, and the dawn of the age of factories and the Industrial Revolution. Humans would set foot on every continent, take to the water in great ships and to the air in steam-powered machines, and still, Toba was hidden. Until the year 1853, when a Dutch explorer stumbled through the mountains and found not just a lake and an island, but a civilization, out of sight for a very long time. I have made this drive many times and it never gets old. There's just something amazing about Lake. You know, you're in that smoggy, hot, humid, sticky kind of, Sumatran cities. And then you get past Siantar and you go up into the mountains, and then next thing you know, it's like temperature plummets, the vegetation changes. In about 20 minutes, the lake is going to appear on the right. Dennis, you're behind the camera. You're on the right side of the car. Whether or not you film it, just to see it, it's an amazing sort of, I don't know, this is just one of the coolest places in the world. The drive from Medan to Lake Toba takes the better part of a full day, and is probably best explained as 3 road trips all in one. The first stretch covers the outskirts of the big city, the urban sprawl of factories and heavy traffic that extends from the provincial capital to Tebing Tinggi, 80 kilometers to the east. Then the road turns south and you enter what was once the world's densest jungle. But today is an endless drive through oil palm and rubber tree plantations, as Hypnotic is crossing the Sahara Desert. And just like an oasis, this brings you through Pematang Siantar, or as it's better known, Siantar City, the last place to gas up or grab a snack before the final leg of the journey. And that's the Barisan mountain range, climbing up and up through switchbacks, and by the time the landscape starts to change, well, you're already exhausted. And you can start to understand how the world's largest volcanic lake stayed undiscovered for such a long time. In 1783, an Englishman named William Marsden published a book called The History of Sumatra. It would contain 508 pages of detailed records, explaining cultures, governments, and dozens of languages, based on his 8 years of fieldwork on the island. It was exhaustive and incredibly comprehensive, but as for Sumatra's biggest natural feature, there's only one single sentence, and I quote, "It is said that there's a huge lake in North Sumatra, where exactly is not known." And this would be the first reference ever recorded about Lake Toba. The road we're driving today was built a little more than 100 years ago, but before the Dutch started clearing land to build plantations, before the first airplanes started flying overhead, central Sumatra was completely inaccessible. Thousands of kilometers of dense jungle and tall mountains. It was the domain of wild tigers, elephants, and pythons, a primordial place of active volcanoes and impossibly dense cover, and no one in known history had penetrated the interior. But that doesn't mean that there weren't legends, stories told since the dawn of written language, of a people, somewhere out there. The ancient Malays called them Bataks, the savages or part humans. They'd be referenced by Marco Polo in the year 1292, then Niccolo di Conti 200 years later, and Stamford Raffles in the early 19th century, all telling of a fierce band of headhunters who would murder anyone who came close, though none had ever actually seen them or visited their mythical lands. In 1853, a Dutch linguist named Herman van der Tuuk would be the first to brave the jungle, mountains, and terrifying rumors, and finally lay eyes on the majestic Lake Toba. But what he found was so much more than the lake itself. There was indeed a tribe of people, but these were not primitives. On an island in the middle of the lake lived a society numbering in the tens of thousands, a culture with its own written language, its own musical instruments, and its own version of world history. So for the next 2 days, well, we're heading to the island to try to understand the cuisine, the people, and one of the most unique cultures anywhere, and to get it all on tape before everything starts to change.
Iya. Enggak juga.
All right, so we have about a 2-hour drive ahead of us before our next stop, and it's going to be just nonstop, some of the best views in the entire world. So before we hit the road, in the village of Tomok, one of the 2 settlements here on Samosir Island, mi gomak, which is the Batak breakfast. Unlike everything else that we're going to eat today, this is not ancient. This doesn't have thousands of years of history. It's noodles. This is something that probably came to the island after contact in the 20th century, but this is what you eat for breakfast if you're Batak. Gomak in the Batak language means squeezed, because the way they make the noodles is by squeezing them by hand. It's with a light sauce that's made of a spice blend, local aromatics. We have some pickled vegetables and some jackfruit and some long beans, and all topped with a fried egg. These 3 bowls combined, according to the sign on the wall, are exactly total $1. It's 30 cents each. It's going to be a long day ahead of us, so starting our first morning on the island with a quick bowl of noodles is a pretty safe idea. And this dish has been providing carbs and calories to the local fishermen since the early 20th century. As the people from Lake Toba have moved away, they've brought mi gomak to the rest of Sumatra. And today it might be best known by its nickname of Batak spaghetti. Oh, so good. You know, Batak food's not very spicy because chili peppers weren't here. You know, again, this was the land of no outside influence. There's just a tiny bit of heat in this, and it's like a light coconut-based curry. The noodles they look like they're going to be really, you know, like really thin and light, but there's some density to them. This is our fuel for the drive. Got a long day ahead of us, but I am excited for me, but I'm more excited for Dennis and Carol, who've never been here before, to get to see what's about to just unfold in front of us as we're driving away. I'm excited for you getting to watch this too. One of my favorite places on earth. Welcome to Samosir Island, one of the most spectacular places anywhere on the planet, 630 square kilometers rising from the middle of Lake Toba, all ringing the cone of the old volcano, casting a shadow from 800 meters overhead. This is a place where the houses are built like old wooden boats, handmade of wood and decorated in the Batak colors of red, white, and black. And all around are miniature versions called tugu, homes built for the ancestors, the spirits who guard the island and have kept the people safe for thousands of years. There are 108,000 people who live on Samosir Island, twice that number if you include the surrounding mountains. Most of them live in rural isolation, but once a week everyone gathers in the town center of a place called Pangururan for the weekly Batak market. One of the guys who comes here to do his shopping is a man named Abi Sidabutar, a friend of a friend and a longtime fisherman, working on the lake raising tilapia, and he's agreed to show us around. So show me around, show me. I already see some things that I don't know what they are. Obviously this is shallots and garlic.
I think we go inside because this is just the side.
Okay, you lead the way.
Yeah.
As a chef, there's no better way to understand a culture than by walking around the local market. This is where people meet to get to catch up and share stories and buy the stuff that goes into local recipes. But even within Indonesia, this is uniquely fascinating, because up here with an elevation between 1,000 and 2,000 meters, while the cooler climate makes this a paradise for rare fruits and vegetables. Is this andaliman?
Yes. This is permission Buruda. This is we call it andaliman, yeah?
So it's almost like a Sichuan pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah?
This is rias. This is to make the tombur sauce.
It's not lemongrass.
No. This one.
Can I smell it?
Yeah, you can smell. Itu juga tokida.
It's not lemongrass, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It just smells almost like celery. It's like a vegetable.
It's similar like a ginger plantation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like ginger root almost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And this is the flower, yeah. The
This is the flower from this plant?
We cut it and then we normally use it for the topping of the cassava leaf.
I see.
Yeah. This is the local coffee here. So here we grow a lot of coffee and we make our own coffee. You can smell it.
I'll buy some to take home.
Okay.
This, it's one of the only things I can bring on the plane. This is one of the only things I can bring on the plane from this market. But you said this is local coffee?
Yeah.
Where does it grow?
In Ronggurnihuta, it's about 2 kilometers from here.
On the island?
Yes.
Okay, that's where this coffee is from.
Yes.
All right, let me buy. I'll buy 250 grams.
Okay. Sedione? It's 25,000.
Okay. Okay, makasih.
Thank you.
How do I say thank you in Batak language?
We say mauliate. Mauliate.
Mauliate.
Ma means more.
Mauliate.
Yeah.
Mauliate.
Ma means more.
Okay.
Uli means beautiful. Ate means heart. More beautiful heart.
Mauliate.
Yeah.
Okay, mauliate.
Okay, this way.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. The weekly market at Pangururan is a showcase for local produce. From the fruits and vegetables to the coffee, a 20th century arrival to Lake Toba, but so valued in Batak regions that two of the most famous varietals found around the world, Gayo and Mandeling, are named for Batak tribes. And Kopi Luwak, the planet's most expensive coffee, well, that comes from the Gayo Batak people, who found their own creative way to get around a Dutch prohibition on local consumption. But it's not just food sold here at the market. For a lot of the folks who come here to buy and sell, this is the one chance to pick up any necessities. And for us, well, it's a rare window into the local culture.
So this is, we call it ulos. Ulos is our traditional Batak blanket. Normally, if we go to a wedding party, we always bring ulos as a gift to the host. Yeah, and also we bring rice. But nowadays, they also give money as the exchange of the rice. Yeah.
And this is
This kind of we call it sadung. It's a ulos for woman.
this is something that you'd use as a decoration, as clothing, as what?
We also use it as a decoration for the walls, and also if we go to a ceremony, we always wear it in the right side.
Okay.
Yeah. And this ulos for men. This one.
This is another entire market. This is crazy.
This is a tiny martabak, yeah? This one. So you can have it like one shot.
Do you want one?
Let's try it together.
You want one? You'll have one?
Together. What kabar? Yeah. She's
His
my
good
good friend, yeah? She's selling fish.
And this fish, what does it sell for?
This,
To make arsik?
yeah, arsik, this one.
She's your friend. Is she from Tuk Tuk also?
No, from this village, Pangururan.
Okay.
Yeah. She's a very kind woman. You can hold it, yeah? Woo! Dia just ada na burung.
Yeah, that's all you.
Gadang just ada. Nabagula ni.
So who are the Batak people, and how did they find their way here in the first place? Well, this would be a question that would baffle anthropologists for a very long time, but thanks to linguistics and genetic testing, well, we have a pretty good idea. The short version of the story is they're descendants of a group called the Austronesians, which explains why the ancient Malays seemed to know about the people who lived deep in the jungle. They were relatives, splinter groups of the same tribe. The Austronesians were native to southern China, what's now Fujian. Around 5,000 years ago, they migrated to Taiwan, then the Philippines, and from there, they'd spread out across the oceans and settle much of the world. Sailing on outriggers equipped with sails made from pandan leaves, the Austronesians would build societies wherever they'd land, thriving in remote locations thanks to two innovations they'd bring everywhere: rice farming and the cultivation of coconuts, which together guaranteed sustenance and fresh water. They'd fan out across the oceans and create settlements that today we call the Hawaiians, the Maori, and the Malagasy of Madagascar. And they'd inhabit the island of Sumatra, where at some point their descendants would divide, groups along the coast becoming the Malays, the Acehnese, and the Minangkabau, and another faction moving inland, settling the mountain highlands. Over the next 2,000 years, the coastal tribes would trade with outside cultures, building kingdoms and empires and taking on influence in religion from connections with the Chinese, Indians, Arabs, and Europeans. But far away from society, those in the jungle would be left to themselves, a wide range of independent societies collectively referred to as the Bataks. There were the Karo, who lived in Sumatra's northeast, the Simalungun of today's Siantar City, the oasis we drove through in the middle of the palm oil fields. There were the Pakpak up north in Aceh, the Mandeling to the west around Padang, and the biggest group, the Toba, around the great volcanic lake. Now, for a channel like OTR, here's why this is so exciting. I want you to think about food as a math equation. Everything, everywhere is the end result of whatever techniques and ingredients were somewhere first, plus the influence of any other culture that ever came into contact with the native people. But in a place where no one ever came into contact, well, that makes the food something truly extraordinary, a living time capsule. And this brings us to the reason we made this trip. All right, now there are three things to know about the food of the Toba Bataks. First, outside of the 20th century mee gomak breakfast, there's no stir frying, no steaming or air frying or any other non-native technology. It's all about cooking over a fire, grilling meat over wood, boiling into stews, or consuming food raw. More on that in a little bit. Second, everywhere the Austronesians traveled from the Philippines, they always brought along rice, coconuts, and domesticated livestock like pigs and chickens. And those foods are essential in Batak cuisine, along with the native ingredients of Lake Toba. And third, well, as you might expect, nothing goes to waste. I mean, nothing. So let's talk about the dishes. The most famous Batak meal is called babi panggang. It's grilled pork cooked over a fire and made with a dipping sauce of andaliman, the spice found only around the lake, and the blood of the animal. And it's all served with a side of tapioca leaves smashed in coconut milk. Interestingly enough, also found in other Indonesian ethnic groups deriving from the Austronesians. Manuk napi nandar is even more interesting. It's male chicken, cleaved and cooked over a fire, coated in a sauce also made from blood and andaliman, along with shallots and ginger. In this case, we find an analog as far away as the Philippines, the ancient dinuguan. Hell, even the language is the same. Chicken in Toba Batak is manuk, in Tagalog, manok. And the combination of meat, blood, and andaliman also shows up in a dish called saksang, this time simmered into a stew with aromatics like garlic and turmeric. When we talk about the native ingredients to Toba, that of course means there's plenty of food based around fish, traditionally a species called ikan batak, only found here, in classic preparation, grilled and served over rice. You'll also find fish coated in spices known as tinombur, or cooked into arsik, a stew made from coconut, andaliman, and the flowers of the rias, or torch ginger, what Abi showed us a while ago while we walked around the market. And there's one more Batak dish that calls back to the Philippines, a raw preparation similar to kinilaw, here dressed with citrus and coated in andaliman, called naniura, and meant in the old days for kings and Batak royalty. That's just a snapshot of the food of the Toba Bataks. But it's been a very long day already, and finally, it's time for us to feast. All right, real quick, before we get any further, can you tell me about the food on the table? What do we have?
Okay. This is Batak cheese. We call it dali ni horbo. It's made of buffalo milk. And this is saksang made of pork.
Pork in blood.
Yeah, they mix blood inside.
What other kind of spices is in this?
They have lemongrass, andaliman, ginger, and a little bit salt.
Okay.
And this one is napi nadar. It's made of local chicken. They roast it first, and then this is also mixed with blood, and also with the andaliman. Yeah. And this is fish arsik. It's made of goldfish. Yeah. Also with like a red onion. We call it bawang batak. And also with some kind of chili. Yeah. And this one is made of cassava leaf, and also mixed with coconut milk. Yeah. And this is a fish curry made of a tilapia and also mixed with coconut milk, yeah? And this is one, we call it tombur. It's a fish barbecue made of a tilapia, and also they have a special sauce. It's made of ginger, lemongrass, and andaliman, and a little bit salt.
And then this is the pork soup?
This is the pork soup.
To make the food traditional to Lake Toba requires a lot of time. Everything has to be made from scratch, and since there's so much use of stuff that spoils quickly, well, nothing stays fresh for long. It's not ideal for turning a profit, but that's not the priority at Rumah Makan Gulasa. Here since the 1970s, every morning their cooks make each dish in the old-fashioned way, and then it's sold only during lunchtime. And after that, whatever's left over gets handed out to anyone in need, serving the community and just like in the food itself, with nothing going to waste.
So I choose the belly part of the fish because it has less inner bone, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is this arsik prepared? What's in this?
They boil it for a few hours.
Okay.
Yeah, so to make the meat more softer.
take a little extra of this sauce. Please help yourself to some food too. Otherwise, I just look like I'm make you come all the way here just to watch me eat. Oh, the cheese is amazing. It's like mozzarella, but it's more like, it's like when you're in Italy, it's fresh made. That's amazing. Let's try the arsik. The loop around the island on Samosur's only main road covers around 145 kilometers. It's a full-day endeavor to drive the whole circle, not because it's in bad shape, though it does get dicey on the part that crosses the mountain, but mainly because you just want to pull over everywhere to take photos or soak in the incredible landscape. We have a few more stops to go today, including my own favorite Toba restaurant. But while we're driving, we need to cover one important topic. Because believe it or not, when the first outsiders started coming here, it wasn't the natural beauty or the compelling history that made international headlines. It was the fact that this was supposedly the long-lost domain of the world's fiercest cannibals. The first mention ever recorded of a tribe in the Sumatran jungle goes all the way back to the 9th century AD, when an Arabic inscription told of a culture who preferred to eat meals made of human flesh. And that was just the beginning. The legend would grow when Marco Polo shocked European readers 4 centuries later, his own journal written from the safety of the Sumatran coast, telling of what he called the Bataks, in his words, a tribe so savage they ate their own grandparents, and I quote, from rump to stump. And in 1820, Sir Stamford Raffles, the governor of Singapore, took it even a step further, writing that when Batak parents were too old to work, their kids would roast them with lime, salt, and a bit of rice. The stories of Batak cannibals were prime entertainment in the years before the discovery of Lake Toba. Ida Pfeiffer, an Austrian traveler and best-selling author, captivated audiences by writing that the inland Sumatrans dispatched of prisoners by making a drink from their blood and hosting a feast made up of a victim's hands, feet, head, heart, and liver. But what would truly make an impact was in 1834, when 2 American missionaries named Samuel Munson and Henry Lyman set out to meet the Bataks for themselves and convert them to Christianity. They set out from Sabolga and traveled inland, sending letters back with their local guides expressing excitement at having made contact with the infamous Batak people. And then the letters would stop, and Lyman and Munson were never seen again. Now, there are a lot of potential explanations for what happened to the pair of evangelists, but all that matters was that in 1856, 22 years after their disappearance, Mr. Lyman's sister Hannah published a book called The Martyr of Sumatra, writing in florid prose how her brother and his companion had been surrounded by 200 tribesmen, murdered, dismembered, and cooked for dinner. Mrs. Lyman, just like everyone else who told of the Batak cannibals, did not witness any of this herself. At the time of the alleged incident, she was teaching at a seminary school in Virginia, but this book, released just 3 years after Herman van der Toop discovered Lake Toba and the home of Batak society, well, it would trigger a sort of religious gold rush, evangelical Christians flocking in droves to Samosir to civilize the natives and bring the cannibals into the light of the Lord. Now, there would be two major outcomes of this endeavor. The first would begin in 1861 when a German Lutheran mission under the guidance of Dr. Ludwig Nommensen would build a base on the mainland side of the water, establishing a village we now call Parapat, where we caught our ferry. Dr. Nommensen would spend a total of 17 years immersing himself in Batak language and culture, translating the works of Martin Luther and the New Testament, and teaching Christian hymns, playing off the Batak love for music. By 1878, the island had its first churches, preaching a hybrid gospel that included the story of Jesus and traditional Toba mythology. By the end of the century, nearly all Toba Bataks had converted, and Dr. Nommensen would be hailed as a hero for ending a practice of cannibalism that, at least according to some modern studies, might never have existed in the first place. As for the second outcome, well, with the native people no longer feared as headhunters, the Dutch colonists felt safe enough to come to the island themselves. Around 1906, construction would begin on the road we traveled yesterday, the one that would eventually connect to Parapat. When this was finished, the village along the eastern shore of Lake Toba would transform into a resort town at the time called the Sumatran Riviera. By the 1930s, tourists were coming to Samosir, and a trickle would soon turn into a flood thanks to one Batak family and their fascination with Western culture, which brings us to a quick break for some Lake Toba coffee. Sorry if I'm lopsided, there's a dog under the table. Unfortunately, the owner of this place is not in Toba right now. Tiolina is on a trip and she's overseas. I didn't have her phone number, so I had no way to tell her we were coming. But this is one of my stops every time we come to Toba. Tiolina is a character. She's an eccentric. She'll play piano for you inside the house. She's the daughter-in-law. Her husband was the son of the last Batak king. So everywhere here there's history. I've pulled off the road before just at a random house where guys are drinking tuak outside, and you get in a conversation. Everybody's some connection to the old families of the Batak kingdom. But the graves that you see, the houses over there, all of the setting of this cafe is just sort of living Batak history from when the kingdom fell. So it's a shame that she's not here right now, but just imagine that I was sitting with a very entertaining and eccentric Batak lady who is a good piano player. At least they still have coffee, and I need a coffee. How did I get so sunburned? Like, it's not even sunny today. I put on sunscreen, and I'm like, I think when I came to the island, I looked like Casper the Friendly Ghost, so it didn't take much to turn me into a tomato. I'm the middle color on the Batak flag. All right, I'll make this part quick because we have places to be, but this is a fun story. For the first 40 years or so after outsiders started holidaying in Parapat, the two sides kept their distance. Only missionaries took the trip across the water. But then a man named Hompol Pane Sidaruk, the son of the Batak king of Simonando village, noticed the new Dutch resorts and thought this Western elegance looked fascinating. So he studied the architecture and started work on a new house, built in the colonial style. It would be the first building on the island with windows, so it became known as Rumah Kaca, or the glass house. He'd built a pier as well to accommodate large boats. And around 1950, he rode to Parapat and started spreading the word that anyone was invited to stop by for bowls of meat gomak or a cup of coffee. Now, Sidaruk was perceptive and realized quickly that the folks who came by were as interested in Batak houses as he was in theirs. So he would embark on an 18-year project to move old family homes and tugus to his property. And in 1968, he'd open Huta Bolon, or the Great Village, the first tourist attraction on the island, and it would be an immediate hit. Today, Huta Bolon is still a beloved Lake Toba destination, owned and operated by the king's granddaughter-in-law Tialina, who today is overseas, on a trip to the UK as befits her family's fascination with foreign cultures. It's a shame she's not here because I'm telling you, she's a character. But what really matters is that after the initial success of this business, well, more and more local families would follow suit, performing dances and traditional puppet shows, and laying the groundwork for the island's future. By the 1970s, the village of Tuk Tuk, a small peninsula jutting into the water opposite Parapat, had become something of a backpacker enclave, lined with hostels and homestays and bringing even more revenue to Samasir. With economic prosperity and the education provided by Christian schools came political power. Just a century after Hannah Lyman told the world about the primitive cannibals, Toba Bataks had risen to the highest levels of the Indonesian government, and today people from the island have become massively influential. Politicians and musicians, professional athletes, and the list goes on. Descendants of the same barbarians that once terrified the outside world for 1,000 years. On an island where time stands still, and where the atmosphere is peaceful and serene, well, so far there's been nothing relaxing about our first half day on Samasir. But while racing from place to film as much as possible has been necessary to tell this story, well, now it's time for us to enjoy our vacation. Because here, well, this is heaven. There are some places where there's a flavor that just tells you where you are, lets you finally slow down and get your bearings and relax. You've made it. Like a banh mi on the streets of Saigon, a coffee and baguette in Paris, or the first bottle of Corona after a long trip to Cancun. Here at Lake Toba, it's this, pulling off the road in the shadow of the volcano and smelling meat cooking on a barbecue, marinated pork, and fish straight from Lake Toba. Samasir Island is truly one of the most exceptional places on the planet, somewhere that's just jam-packed with history, unbelievable views, and stunning culture. And while rushing around lets us show it off, well, you don't really feel it until you can sit down in a place where it all comes together, showcased in a meal that's humble, unpretentious, and just absolutely perfect. All right, so this is the one place that I think every day that I've ever spent in Toba, I've come here. It's just on the main road outside of the Tuk Tuk Peninsula where all the hotels and hostels are. The classic Batak meal is just grilled meat, served with a few sauces and sides, grilled pork, grilled fish, that's it. We were just talking to Obi earlier about how nothing goes to waste, so we have the sauce made from the blood of the pork. We have chili, and we have tapioca leaves that are pounded with coconut, and a soup made from the pork bones. I'm not gonna rush because we've been kind of running around all day today. Like, we got up first thing in the morning, we went out for our noodles, we drove all the way to the other side of the island, walked through the market, had that big lunch, stopped at the cafe, but Toba is not about rushing. This is about just sitting here for an hour and just enjoying a plate of grilled meat with the smell of the smoke and the scenery of the mountains behind us, and like, this is what it's all about. This is you know, it's as good as you think it's going to be. That's how good it is. But it's not even about the food. It's about the environment and just sort of, you know, you can't hear anything. You hear nature and you hear guys like chopping up the meat for grilling, and that's it. You know, there's a car that maybe drives by every 10 minutes or so. But yeah, let's eat. I can't just sit here and look at this without trying it. The sauces, by the way, this sauce just is not for you. This is for the other people who are joining us to eat. Dennis and Carol, this sauce is meant to go with the fish, and this is for the pork. So I'm gonna just try a piece by itself first. Always good.
The first time I came to Lake Toba was in 2012, when I arrived by myself on an open-ended ticket. There weren't a lot of other backpackers around, and when I mentioned to the folks at Roy's Pub, the island's main hangout, that I wanted to find real local food, well, they were happy to oblige, and before long I found myself with an island full of new friends. There was Ibadi Amberita, or as he called himself, Mr. Brown from a small town. Brown introduced me to the magic of tuak, or fermented palm wine. One time, after everyone had too much to drink, he even tossed me the keys to the Lake Toba ferry so I could pilot his friends over to Parapat to buy some snacks. He was also the first to bring me to this restaurant, which was the place for lunch for the guys in the village. Along with Brown, I'd explore for food with Sander Haryanja, who also enjoyed tuak, and most of all, Biben Sialagan, a local guitar legend nicknamed Obama for the close physical resemblance. Over the month I'd spend on Samasir, Biben's home would become my own, and when I left at the end of my visa, his mother Inang, may she rest in peace, gave me the unbelievable honor of throwing a Batak-style feast, cooking the traditional send-off meal of chicken napi nadar, along, of course, with meat straight from the grill. There was something wild about hanging out like old friends with these guys who were just as much fun, just as cool and normal as anyone I knew back home. And yet here, in this incredible and fascinating place, their names were on the buildings, the villages, and the Batak royal tombs. There's no separation on Samasir Island between the people and the land. It's all one, a connection that can be hard to fathom when you come from anywhere else where life changes almost day to day. Mr. Brown from a small town, well, his surname is Amberita, the same name as the village where we'd all go for the best grilled pork. The Haryanja clan are the people from where those two Americans disappeared, whatever it was that actually happened. Abi Sidabutar, our companion for lunch and guide at the market, well, his ancestor, King Sidabutar, is the most revered king of the Bataks, who ruled the island 500 years ago. And as for Biben, well, everyone who comes to Samasir has most likely visited his family's famous execution grounds, a uniquely Lake Toba tourist attraction and a perfect place for us to finish our first day filming on the island.
Okay, thank you. There's something about, like, if you've ever been to remote parts of anywhere, not just Asia, but the more remote you get, the more bizarre the tourist attractions become. Everything's just a little bit off. We have a rooster crowing at like 5:30 in the afternoon. Statues, we have a spinning something that apparently holds a cell phone, and all of it around the place where my friend Biben's ancestors used to kill their enemies, the execution grounds of the Sialagan, the Sialagan kingdom. So yeah, this is a tourist attraction. This is where you go for fun, and I can't imagine more fun to be had than this. So the chairs around the outside were where the judges would sit, the chiefs of the local clan, and then this is where the person who was accused would be convicted and then chopped into pieces. Yeah, this music in the background provides an interesting soundtrack. I'd like to believe that that's exactly what they were listening to when the deed was done. Perfect timing. You hit your cue perfectly, chicken. There are more than a few historians that say that the Batak people themselves might have planted the stories of their own brutality, spreading legends about cannibals in the jungle to keep the outside world away. They certainly play it up now for the sake of entertaining tourists. Disney World with a side of Hannibal Lecter. Near the end of my first trip, after 3 weeks here, I felt like I'd checked all the boxes. I'd visited the attractions and eaten the local food and consumed just an astonishing amount of tuak. So Sander asked me if before I left I had time to see another side of Batak culture. Something I'd never find on my own and that as far as he knew, no tourist had ever been allowed to see. So the next day we drove off, high into the mountains towards Pusuk Buhit, where the Bataks believed the world began. We went higher and higher, driving through narrow paths, and then when the road ended, we got off our bikes and started climbing. And then we arrived at a spring where the water came out of the ground tasting like lime. A shaman was praying over a man to cure his illness, and it was obvious that this was a place of spirits, somewhere incredibly powerful. Over the next 13 years, I'd come back to Samasir over and over, but I lost touch with Sander and never managed to find that spot again. But while we were all at the restaurant this afternoon, I showed my old photos to Abi, and he said that he's been meaning to make a pilgrimage back to that site. And if we wanted, well, he'll bring us there in the morning. So tomorrow, we'll be filming deeper than anyone ever has before into the sacred world of the Toba Bataks. All right, so for the first time in almost 15 years, heading out to the sacred site where the Toba Batak people first came from, according to legend. We've just crossed the bridge, leaving the island. You know, as tourism's kind of found Lake Toba, it's been focused on Samosir, but the Toba Batak people culturally are still centered off the island, and where we're going to go, I mean, again, I haven't been out here in a long time, but it's different. It has this kind of feeling. It's a really special place, and I'm incredibly excited to get back here. Yeah, it's going to be a fun day, and the sun's out. Weather's a lot better than yesterday, and so, you know, we're going to the sacred site, and the Batak gods are smiling on us. The Toba people tell a story that the world began when the Creator, the highest god in the heavens, had a daughter who was arranged to marry a man she did not desire. So she escaped, descending to Earth, which at the time was just a planet of water. Out of sympathy, her father sent down a handful of land, though it would strike the back of a great dragon who would twist and turn, shaping the new ground into tall mountains. In time, the man the goddess was fleeing came to Earth as well, concealed in disguise. They'd have a set of twins, a boy and a girl, and then ascend back into the heavens. The children, gods in human form, would start their own family from their home on Pusuk Buhit mountain, and one of their children would be given the name Siraja Batak, revered today as the ancestor of all the Batak people. Two generations after Siraja Batak, the family still lived here on Pusuk Buhit mountain as gods. But one child, Raja Uti, well, something was wrong. He was born disabled, deformed and unable to walk. In desperation, his father took him to a sacred spring where he lowered him into the water, and he emerged strong and healthy, and human. He'd cross onto Samasir and create a new society along the banks of Lake Toba. And it's that spring on the venerated mountain where we're heading right now. All right, now after spending an entire half day driving through some of the most astonishing scenery anywhere, through village after village that's never seen electricity or running water, you probably don't expect that the most sacred holy site dates back to 1996. But that was when a farmer named Mr. Limbong, who lived on the side of Pusuk Buhit, woke up from a dream, having imagined the location of the spring, never found but long imagined in Batak mythology. So he started cutting a path up the mountain, and there it was, right where he saw it in his vision. He'd devote the rest of his life to preserving the site, and, well, he's still doing it, living inside the new visitor center where his wife cooks instant noodles for anyone who makes the trek. Now, I'm as cynical as the next guy. I understand what you're probably thinking. But here's the thing. Not only does the spring and its surroundings perfectly match the ancient story, but all around, Mr. Limbong found a huge amount of ancient Batak artifacts, irrefutable proof that someone lived here a very long time ago. Do you feel something when you come up here? Does it feel like something to you?
I feel want to cry.
Why? Well, I want you to, because people who are watching this who aren't here with us, there's something, it just feels different. It feels really kind of, you get like the hair on your arm stands up.
Yeah.
What is it? How would you describe this as a Batak person coming here?
Because it is our ancestor places, long time ago. Yeah. I feel like I'm going back home.
You're getting emotional. Why?
This place where our ancestor long time ago to process the rice, yeah. This we call it losum, yeah. It's made of a volcanic stone, yeah. So normally our ancestor use this to process the rice. First, after they dry the rice, they put it here, and then they take a wooden stump and then stamp it, yeah. And then the chaff will be separated from the rice, and then they put it into a tray, and they wave it by the help of the wind, and then the rice will be separated.
This is not, nobody moved this here. This was found in this spot, so there were people here.
Yeah.
How old is this? If you had to get, just according to the legend at least.
I'm not sure, but more than 1,000 years. Yeah.
So when's the last time you came up here?
Oh, 3 years ago.
So happy to be able to come back again with you then.
Yeah.
Okay, we're almost there.
Now we are in Batu Sawan, yeah. Batu means stone, Sawan means bowl. So it means the stone is like a bowl shape. And here we have spring water. It tastes like a lemonade. So many local people coming here and pray, and they do like a cleansing ritual. Yeah, I have experience. There is a couple already 9 years they don't have baby. And I bring them here and pray, and now they already have baby.
I try to put this into words, and it's hard sometimes on the channel because sometimes just seeing something isn't good enough. You have to kind of feel it. But we are so high in elevation in this, you can't hear roads, you can't hear cars, you just hear the birds and the nature, and then there's the spring where the water comes out. It's a really, you feel it when you come up here, no?
Yeah.
Even for you, you've been here so many times, you still feel, or have you been here many times?
I have been here many times.
And you still feel something when you come here?
I feel home. I feel emotions. Yeah.
Here's a hard question. You can talk as long as you want.
tell me the story of the Batak people. What is the traditional legend of the beginning of the Batak people?
Okay, so now we are in the part of Pusuk Buhit mountain, yeah? So we believe Pusuk Buhit mountain is the beginning of Batak tribe, yeah? So here in Batu Sawan is a place for we call Opung Raja Uti. He was born with a disability, yeah? So his parents bring him here and put it in the cave up there, and the parent take him to this holy spring water and pray to God, and then he become a normal man, yeah. And then we believe from this holy mountain, holy sites, the generation spread to many villages. Yes, so many local people come here. They pray for something personal requests like healthiness, wisdom, and also welfare, something like that. So yeah, most of them are answered.
Okay, so now you told me a little bit about this place. What were you doing when you come here and you do the prayer? Tell me about what you do. You know, because we saw you, but what were you doing?
So normally if we come here, we bring a leaf, we call it siri. It's a media for us to pray, to connect to our ancestor and also to our God. We have a God, we call it Debata. So I am Batak tribe. Batak Debata, yeah? So it means we have the God essence inside, yeah? And if we pray here, normally we bring siri, it's like an offering also, and also kaffir lime, banana, rice, cigarettes, and eggs. That's like a media to pray.
And what about the pool down below?
Yeah, the pool down below is a place for a cleansing ritual. So we believe if we take a bath there, all of the negative energy will be cleaned up. We believe that this mountain, it is one of the energy holder in the world. Yes, in the world we have Fuji Mountain, Mount Shasta, Gunung Agung in Bali. Here, Pusuk Buhit Mountain is one of the energy holder. Yeah, but it's not written. It's untold. Yeah, not so many people know it. But yeah, it's okay for us to keep it secret because we want only good people coming here. Yeah, so we don't really talk it too much.
Do you worry that, you know, there are not many people left who can read Batak language, the traditional writing, speak Batak maybe less and less. Do you worry that these stories will be forgotten in future generations? Do you worry that Batak language will be forgotten in future generations? Do you worry about how people now move out and, you know?
Yes, like me, I need about 2 hours to reach Batak literature. Yeah? We call it aksara. Normally, it's written in the bark of the tree. We call it laklak. Now, our original Batak book is in Netherlands, in Tropen Museum. Yes, you are right. Now it's a big challenge for us to read Batak writings. Nowadays, because of the technology, so many young people don't know how to read Batak writings. Yes, in school there is like extra lessons to learn how to read the Batak writing, yeah, in elementary, especially, yeah. And also to do the hand weaving, to make ulos, Batak blanket. Not so many young girls like to learn about it.
But is that why it's important for you to teach people about this and to keep the
Yeah.
old traditions alive?
Yeah.
Like this artwork, the carvings and things like that.
This one we call it gorga.
Is there some significance to black and red? It seems like a lot of artwork is in this black and red color.
Yeah, it's a good question, yeah. So here, before the Christian come to our village, our ancestors have a belief, we call it parmalim. Yeah, parmalim is a belief that everything has a spirit. Yeah, the sky, the mountain, the river, the lake, everything has a spirit. Also, they really believe in the mother nature. And Batak people believe there is a God, we call it Debata, yeah? And Debata have like three sons. The first we call it Batara Guru, he's the God of the sky. The symbol is white. The second one we call it Mangalabulan, he's the God of the Middle Earth. The symbol is red. And the last one we call it Banesori, he's the God of the underground and the symbol is black. So Batara Guru, Mangalabulan, Banesori, Banwa Gijang, Banwa Tonga, Banwa Turu.
For 2,000 years, Lake Toba was hidden behind dense jungle, high mountains, and stories about cannibals. Today it's drivable in a single day, and it's about to get even faster, with a new highway under construction that'll cut it down to just 90 minutes from Medan, connected to the new airport built with the stated purpose of bringing tourists to the lake. The outside world has finally found the land of the Bataks, but somehow, well, I don't think anyone is concerned. This incredible place survived intact through the rise and fall of empires. It held off the Dutch for more than a century, and even generations after the Christian missionaries arrived, while Batak traditions are not just remembered, they're still finding new holy sites hidden deep in the mountains. Here around Lake Toba, you'll find the legacy of the ancient Austronesians, kept alive in the food and culture. But maybe I was wrong to call this a time capsule. Even with a history tracing back to those first arrivals, this is uniquely Batak. From the architecture to the beliefs to the people themselves, products of this fascinating society. In the Batak language, there's a word called Horas, used as a greeting, a farewell, a statement of welcome, and a blessing, to wish someone a long life, prosperity, and happiness. And ever since the first outsiders started making the trip across the water, well, the locals have emblazoned Horas everywhere. It's chanted in dances and puppet shows, carved on trinkets sold in gift shops, and you can't walk 100 meters without hearing it from someone. It would be easy to talk about the risks and challenges that are waiting for Samasir as change is inevitably coming, sooner rather than later. But I don't know, I've been coming here for a very long time, and I just don't think that's the right way to bring us to the end of our time on the island. Instead, I'll just say what everyone said to me since the first time I took that ferry across the water. Horas, welcome home.
All right.
Hello, good evening.
I told you that we would be here.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome.
Okay, it's the last night of our week in Indonesia filming. It's the last night of our 2 days taping in Lake Toba. And unfortunately, or fortunately for Dari and the dogs, I'm on a plane tomorrow back to Thailand. However, I could not leave Lake Toba without visiting Hedi,
Oh yeah?
one of my favorite chefs on the island, and also, I believe, the owner of the oldest cooking school here in the entire Samosir Island. Is that correct? I think it is.
Yes.
Since
That's true.
1989, you've been teaching Batak cooking.
That's true. In 2001.
2001?
Yeah. Cooking class since
Cooking
2001,
classes to the
but
restaurant since
restaurant
1989.
since 1989.
Okay. I want to take a second to publicly apologize to Hedi, the incredible owner of Juwita Cafe and Cooking School, a place I love so much that Dennis, Carol, and I came here for dinner every night we were at Lake Toba, on and off camera. Hedi might be the island's best chef, She's certainly the kindest, and I couldn't imagine leaving without one last Batak meal and a chance to give her the showcase she deserves. But I am a man of great weakness. And while she started making our food, I noticed a familiar sight on the patio across the street. Some local guys had assembled for an impromptu evening of tuak, fermented palm wine. And since Dennis had never had a chance to try it, I dragged him along and, well, Off the Rails does have the initials OTR.
Namaste now. Non.
Oh, Mr. Mushroom.
Ah.
Yeah, Mr.
Mr.
Mushroom,
Mushroom.
exactly.
Yeah.
Every day.
Jadi?
Every day.
Yeah. Ah.
Every day. He was a mess.
Lisoy! 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 Horas!
Yep.
Okay, so one of my favorite restaurants in Tuk Tuk, and a place that we always come when we're here. Before we talk about your restaurant or about Batak food or about Lake Toba, what is on the table? Tell me about this food. So what is this?
What is this?
Yeah, what is this?
First time, chicken curry. Number 2 is chicken and peanut sauce. And number 3, fish in tomato chili with ala Batak.
And what does ala Batak
With
mean?
vegetables. Ala Batak means fish and rice and vegetable complete. Ala Batak tradition from our place here.
Okay, so it was not that long ago, and you are very young. You're my age, maybe same, but it wasn't that long ago that tourists started to come to Lake Toba. Only 1970s, the first tourists began to come here, right?
Yeah.
So 1989, you opened this restaurant. You're one of the first to open a restaurant for tourists in Lake Toba.
No. Not yet. First time restaurant, my brother, Bernard's name, in 1970.
Bernard, still
Yeah.
open, around the corner.
Yeah.
Bernard,
You have
that's your
seen
brother.
them? Yeah.
Of course. All right.
When I still children, small, secondary school, I stay with my parents and start tourists coming, and my brother can speak English very good, and my sister cooking, and my brother go to Prapat to look for the tourists, bring in house.
So what did it feel like for you when foreigners started to come to Samosir? Are you happy when tourists come?
Yeah, of course, very happy, because different. Before tourists come, all people here go to rice field working, or every father, all in fishing men in the lake, and for the eat, no selling fish, just enough for eat. If they have more fish, selling to the market in Tomok, as I remember, yeah.
So what did
But
your
now, very happy tourists coming, and life is more better.
So what did your parents do when you were a kid?
Oh, my parents, for fishermen, working rice field, and then I don't know what year my father start music, play music. Old. yeah, play music. If some people have party, they calling my father for music, yeah, or maybe in Prapat, in Siantar, you know Siantar?
Of course.
Medan, no, the other side. And then maybe my father went there for music. After from that one music, go to another one. People invite, yeah, but no salary. Salary only maybe some rice give to my father because money is maybe not enough before, yeah.
So, when did Toba become? When did Tuk Tuk become like this? Where
When?
this Tuk Tuk village is? How did this become the place where all the tourists went? Was it because the
How?
pier at Parapat? Why is all the hotels, hostels in Tuk Tuk? Why here? Why is this the place where all the tourists
Why
go?
here?
Why Tuk Tuk?
No, first time in Tomok in 1968. Yeah?
In Tomok?
Yeah, in
Okay.
Tomok. You know Tomok?
Yeah, of course. Next,
So-
5 kilometer away.
Tourists came here, and then my brother can speak English, yeah?
So your brother started all of this.
Yeah,
This is crazy. I didn't know this.
he can speak English, and then walking in the road, hello, hello. And then first time, my brother brought tourists to my parents' house. Yeah, my parents' house only normal, living room and 2 rooms, 1 kitchen from the wood. Yeah, you know wood?
Wood,
Wood, yeah, wood like that.
like this.
But good. Under the house have a buffalo under the house. I don't know in English. And goat, yeah. And tourists coming, sleep on the floor.
So the first
With
tourists,
net.
I'm just going to recap to make sure I'm correct. So the first tourists who came here in 1968 went to Tomok.
Yeah,
but
from
your
Tomok
brother,
to here,
but
yeah.
your brother spoke English, and tell them come here, stay with your family.
Yeah, that's
This
true.
I didn't know this before we did the interview. That's
I-
amazing.
I asked my brother come.
Yeah.
If you like,
Sure, why not? If you want, if he's free, he
I
can
call.
come. But I'm also
maybe
happy
he
to talk
drinks,
to you.
Maybe he drinks there.
You want to check across the road, see if he's there? If
Yeah.
not, come back. I'm happy to talk to you. It's okay.
If you like, maybe if he likes, why not?
Is he here?
What? Ay, imana to bahasa Inggris na?
No. What? So if you were the first one who went to find tourists in Tomok and brought them here, how did you learn your English?
Sorry, it's not quite difficult to explain you. Just myself, yeah. First time, how do I know English? First time I school in Sianta, about take 1 hour from Parabat. Evening course. You know evening course, yeah? I study before, but another one I don't know.
Just on your own. You just decided you want to study.
Yes, yes.
And you were Bernard.
That's called Bernard.
And that's your place.
Yes, my place. Here,
Okay.
here my name is Bernard.
Okay.
First time is really, I'm not lie you. First time I built the lodgement here on 1980, 82.
Okay. Last thing, and then we'll let you
No,
get back.
82. 82.
Kamar-kamar na lumayan matong sampai tahun 2022.
Buka sa area nga sa
Tahun 72,
Medan nga.
tahun 72.
1972.
The first places, the first accommodation here on 1972.
Okay.
Around Tuk Tuk.
Bernard.
First accommodation or first guest house. Thank you very much for coming to Lake Toba. I hope if you come back, if you go to our country, if you go back to Thailand, for example, please you tell to other people so they come to Lake Toba. Because Lake Toba is quite cheap to stay. Very, very cheap. Please tell to other people, tell to other family, anything. Everybody come to Lake Toba. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll talk to your sister now. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll see you back there later. All right, this is a perfect lake. I go home tomorrow. I don't want to go home tomorrow because I love it here and I want to stay, but I do have a real life I have to get back to, including writing these videos. But my last night in Toba, I could not ask for a better last couple hours than arriving at my favorite restaurant in Tuk Tuk, getting the lyrics to a traditional Batak drinking song, well earned, and then coming back here to this meal, and we've been delaying long enough, I want to start eating. All I had was a bite of the vegetables, and I'm already a happy guy. You know, there's something about fish straight from the lake, local herbs and ingredients like the andaliman, that the cooking techniques of families that have been cooking together, you know, since long before there were restaurants here. You know, this is such a special place, and it's a place that means a lot to me, and I'm really happy to be able to, you know, be a part of showing this to you. And yeah, this is like, I will say this, you know, a lot of the times we do these videos on these amazing places, and there's always that caveat of, oh, but you need to come here now because things are going to change. But the truth is, I've been coming here for 15 years now, and it kind of hasn't changed. It's still kind of what it was. It's like, we still run into the same people across the street at Tuak. You know, there's not that many more tourists. The food is still incredible, and it's still all handmade. Every ingredient from scratch. The view is still the same, you know, so it's just, this is one of the great places to come on the planet, and I'm so happy to be here. And now I get to eat this amazing fish. This fish is from the lake, yeah? I'm gonna cut my voice here early because it's our last night here. Don't sit here and watch me eat. The montage is not gonna be as good as it usually is because I'm gonna cut off all those little close-up shots because I want you guys to eat this and enjoy it too. So let's just set up a tripod. Let's eat last night here in Toba. And we're incredibly lucky to be here, and I hope you get a chance to experience this too. So good. Subscribe to the channel for more from OTR. Thank you so much to everyone who supports us on Patreon. It really helps to keep us going. Find links below to our Patreon and social media, and we'll see you soon.
Malaysia, you can maison de todi.
I don't even know
the beer,
two
so no problem.
How am I gonna sing this?
It's okay. I have it recorded.
You have it recorded. Okay.
For you.
I keep this.
The Batak,
keep this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
for
you.
you?
Yeah.
For you?
For me?
Okay. This for me? Really?
Yeah. Okay.
But you worked so hard on this.
So like this.
I can try.
I don't know how to sing it. Okay, you have to show me.
Lisoy, 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 oh palmidu. Lisoy, 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 oh palmidu. Lisoy, dongan sa kakinanan. This one more thanks. Oh palmidu. Dongan sa pakilalaan. Oh, tutu, lisoy, lisoy, la 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 la. matuakni. Lisoy! 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 Horas!
Yep, take it. You have to take it. Okay,
Yeah.
I take it.